Hey guys, Joe Sidoti here. Thanks for stopping by. Today's video is all about headphone mixes and how to get a great headphone mix. It doesn't matter what software you're on, whether it's studio or live, I'm gonna give you 10 tips to follow to make sure that you're getting great headphone mixes for either yourself or for a performer. And make sure to stay till the end because I'm gonna give you a tip that I think might possibly save your career. Let's get into it. All right, the first tip is that you should be listening in stereo, monitoring in stereo, whether you're a singer in the studio or you're a drummer playing live. To have a stereo mix is huge. Now, if right now you're trying to cram everything into a mono headphone mix, you're really making it hard for the performer. And maybe it's because you're limited to, outputs. I say do whatever you can, try some stuff, even if people have to share the same headphone mix. The fact that it's in stereo is going to open up so many possibilities for their mix. Tip number 2 is ambience, another way of saying reverb. Okay, it really is important to have reverb in your headphone mix. The brain sees that you're in a space, and when we close ourselves off and we put cans on or we put in-ear monitors in our ears, we feel closed off. And so the only way to open up that space again is to add reverb. And it can really help a performance too because you're not distracted by the fact that something doesn't quite sound right. So my recommendation is to start with something small like, imitate the size of the room that you're in. And then from there, you can start to add decay time and size, to your liking. But you gotta have that ambience so that it feels that you're not closed off. Tip number 3 is when you're putting a mix together, you're starting out, put a nice blend together, but send it to the headphone mix at -10. This gives plenty of room for more me in the mix. You've got a nice blend going and then the singer says, well, obviously I need more of myself. Well, you've got plenty of headroom now to give them more. Or a drummer or a bass player, guitar player, it doesn't matter. If you start with a nice blend of everything, but leave that headroom by, turning it down to -10, you'll have plenty of room down the line to give them more of what they need. Number 4, this should go without saying, but I guess I better say it anyways. Make sure that you're sending things to the headphone mix pre-fader. If you don't know what that means is it's going to tap into the signal before it gets to the fader and send it to the headphones. This way, when you're in the control room or at front of house, you can turn something up or down and adjust your mix and it won't affect their headphone mix. Okay, that's a real big important one. Number 5, this is where psychology starts to play a role. Let's say you've got a drummer who's hitting the cymbals too hard. Chances are it's because they don't realize they're hitting them that hard, and it's because they can't hear the cymbals. So the tip is to turn the overheads up pretty hot in their mix. It'll give them a sense of how hard they're hitting, thus making them react differently and not hit them so hard. Come on, that's worth a like right there. I mean, get the drummer to hit his cymbals softer, hit the like button, click the bell, you know what to do. All right, let's get on to number 6. Number 6, if a singer is singing sharp, try turning their vocal up in their headphone mix. And vice versa, if they're singing flat, try turning their vocal down in their headphone mix. They might be overcompensating subconsciously because something's not dialed in right in their mix. So just remember, you can really affect someone's performance with a great headphone mix. Number 7, click track. Click track is super important when you're talking about timing, specifically a drummer, right? I mean, this might be the loudest thing that you have in your mix. So here's a couple little tips for working with click tracks in your headphone mix. 1, try high passing the click sound. Some software has just an unnecessary amount of bottom end. You wouldn't think it would have any, but a lot of them do. And so it can really muddy up the mix quick. So just put a quick high pass filter at, I'd go as high as 200 maybe, and just get rid of all that junk that you don't need. The second tip is try panning the click, either to one side or the other, not all the way, but just a little bit. When it gets off center, you're able to notice it more, especially if you're a vocalist. You know, you want your voice to be up front and centered, and if you got this click competing, first thing you're gonna do is say, turn that down. Well, now that might affect your timing, depending on the situation. So if you pan it slightly to one side, it's going to stand out more, and you'll actually be able to turn it down because now your brain says, hey, I noticed this thing over here. Make sense? Number 8 is the use of pans. This ties a little bit into number 7, but what I mean is, let's say you're on stage or you're in a room in a studio and you've got players around you and you're all on headphones. Well, if I'm standing here and I'm the singer, and to my left or your right is the electric guitar player, my brain wants to connect the fact that I not only see that the guitar player is over there, but I can hear that the guitar player is over there. So by panning things like that, it really helps your brain realize that you're in a real space and that people are where you see they are. And it really leaves room up the middle, again, for more of you. Number 9 is covering why someone wants to take an ear out. Now, if you're in the studio and you got to take one ear off because you feel like you're not hearing yourself or the ambience isn't right, or if you're on stage, you're taking an ear out because it's just a sign. If you're Mr. or Mrs. Engineer and you're seeing that, it's a sign that their brain is telling them they don't like what they're hearing. So get off your butt, go stand where they're standing, go in the room with them, and listen to what they're listening to. Cue their mix, plug into the headphone amp. A lot of things can change based off of their proximity to the stage or other players or a drum kit or a guitar amp or how close they are to a PA system. All those things, can wreak havoc with your headphone mix, and if you're back at a console, you may not realize what they're hearing is throwing them off. Number 10, the tip that I really want to share with you is this. You have one set of ears. It's all you get, so save them. The key to a great mix is that you can actually hear the mix. And if you, for years and years, just keep cranking those headphones, you're gonna lose your hearing. Now here's what can happen in real time when you're performing. If you've got it cranked up loud, it sounds cool. But then just about 20 minutes later, 30 minutes later, your ears are gonna start to fatigue and they will literally start to break down. And so then what do? You reach for the volume knob, you start to turn it up a little bit because you've lost some of that. Now, your ears are gonna start shutting down even more. So you turn it up again, and so on, the snowball rolls, and it can really damage your ears. Especially be careful of the highs and the high mids. They can do a lot of damage quick. So to sum it up, tip number 10 is keep the volume as low as you can so that you don't have ear fatigue, so you don't start losing your hearing, and you can actually save your ears and have a great career. Okay guys, those were the 10 steps on how to get a great headphone mix. Please let me know in the comments. Did you like the tips? Did anything stand out to you? I'd love to keep this dialogue going. I'm really loving the community that we have on this channel. So thanks so much for watching. I really, truly appreciate your time. We'll see you on the next video. If you like this video, then click that like button, I appreciate it. And subscribe to the channel and help support Sidoti Sound. And click that bell if you want to be notified when I release new videos. And of course, you can find me on all sorts of social media, so be sure to check that out. If you'd like to work with me on an upcoming project, then make sure to visit sidotisound.com for more information. All right, guys, thanks a lot.